Today we are starting a webinar series CPaaS with Comviva. And the topic for today is navigating the modern day CPaaS realm with James. So James, why don't you introduce yourself?
Oh, that I can do. Desh, lovely to see you, and a real honour to be a guest here on Comviva's series and talking about a topic I really love, which is CPaaS, Communications Platform as a Service.
Absolutely. Absolutely, James. And thank you so much for your time and agreeing to do this webinar. Really looking
Welcome.
forward to this conversation. So before we dive into the conversation with James, I have three data points to share about how we look at industry and how the analyst community is looking at the CPaaS industry. So one, as per Juniper research, we can see that the market is going to grow from $16 billion in 2022 to $29 billion in 2025, right? Massive growth expected in next 2 years. Similarly, today, what we see is only 20 to 30% of enterprises are truly leveraging the power of CPaaS, and that is growing every year. As per Gartner, 90% of global enterprises will use CPaaS by 2026. That again is a massive growth and potential for the CPaaS industry as a whole. But what is more interesting here that CPaaS is, while it is being enabled by telco with SMS, voice, and many other channels, and now digital channels as WhatsApp, RBM, uh, the role of telco in the industry, in the CPaaS industry directly is very limited. As you can see in this graph on the right, most of the players that you see here are independent cloud solution provider, not telcos. There is only one telco which is highlighted in green, which is E and Enterprise, which is powered by companies like Comviva and other technology providers. But you don't see many telcos on this graph today. And we will dwell deeper into this trend with James as we go along in this discussion. So, James, over to you. I would like to understand from you how was how has the CPaaS industry evolved in 2023, and what is your observation in last 1 year, last 12 months?
No problem. So first of all, let's look at what is CPaaS, Communications Platform as a Service. And you correctly mentioned that you won't see many mobile operators around the world directly involved there amongst the biggest players. So let's look at that as well. So I'm going to start with that actually. So the reason why you won't see many mobile network operators there is quite simply, they are focused on person-to-person activities, P2P activities. They're there to ensure that whenever we travel around the world, see each other at various trade events, we can receive and place calls, we can surf the web with mobile internets, we can receive text messages, SMS, etc., etc. That is their principal role in the mobile ecosystem, and that materially has not changed. Now, over the years, I've done some work directly with telcos, and I have to admit, I have found it somewhat frustrating because the one thing telcos have, which Comviva would love, which Meth would love, is this amazing brand recognition. And you take, for example, MTN, Mobile Telephone Network, such a wonderful, simple name. For 3 consecutive years across all of Africa, a continent with 1.5 billion people, they've been voted the most admired brand for 3 years. Now that just gives you a tiny little snapshot of how powerful brand recognition is associated with mobile operators. So whether you come to the streets of the UAE where you live, the UK where I am, India, which is Comviva's HQ, wherever we go around the world, practically anybody between the ages of 10 and 80, you ask them, tell me one mobile network operator name in this country, they will know. They will know. So it's amazing recognition. So there is such huge opportunity for them to get involved in this world of business messaging and leverage that brand power, but they haven't. And they've left the field absolutely clear and open the past 10, 15, and some of them, companies, have been around 20 years, to the independents who've grown a very, very strong position. So that's one element. CPaaS has grown strongly in the past 12 months. And as we saw from your projections from leading analysts, it will indeed grow in the next couple of years and accelerate even further, I feel, in the coming 5 to 10 years, and for very, very good reason. So the key reasons are to do with, first of all, the actual solution itself, and number one, how versatile it is, how many different types of channel it offers. You mentioned SMS. Voice is another channel. It might be traditional. It's been around since 1876, but it's increasingly being used in enterprise. It's making a real resurgence, actually, in the enterprise communications world. You've got the OTTs you mentioned, whether it be WhatsApp or Viber or anything like that. You've also got the other carrier-based messaging channel, which is RCS, business messaging, RBM, and many, many other things. You've got apps, push messaging, and so many things around and about. So there's loads of potential there in terms of the number of channels. But it's okay having a lovely solution, but how do we make that accessible to the businesses? And what I'm seeing is that providers such as yourselves, and indeed the messaging companies as well, who have solutions as well, what they're really starting to understand is it's important to make things easily accessible, very easily accessible, and at a reasonable cost point as well. Because practically speaking, there are over 300 million listed businesses around the world. The vast majority of those are smaller and medium sized. And those guys, the small and medium-sized enterprises, they don't have a truckload of cash to spend. They don't have people littering the place who are technical experts, programmers, who know the world of APIs super well, etc. So it's up to us, the industry, you at Comviva, solution providers, to provide solutions which can be easily accessed by organizations of all sizes. And I'm pleased to say that these activities are happening, and there's been a lot of real success and forward movement in this area, and this will just increase. But I must say, and we're going to come on to this, my one caution is a lot of this growth is coming from digital channels and OTTs, such as WhatsApp, in terms of the value of the market. And mobile operators really have to watch the situation. They've got this wonderful brand presence, and they have to do more to leverage the carrier-based messaging channels. And by that, I mean the channels for messaging based within their mobile network operations, which are principally SMS and increasingly now RBM in Android-heavy environments in particular. And that's because the majority of the revenues on those channels stay within the mobile operator. So they have a real golden opportunity here. And at the end of the day, it comes down to collaborations and partnerships.
Thanks, James. I think you covered many different areas, including the definition of CPaaS, and then talking about the role of telcos, and also talking about the importance of CPaaS for enterprises. But just wanted to dwell a little bit deeper on the importance of CPaaS for the enterprises. Like, why is it so critical for them to invest? Like, when we are talking about growth from $16 billion to $29 billion for the CPaaS industry, it is also going to go on as an expense statement for the enterprises. And if this growth is happening, there must be a good reason for enterprises to continue to spend in this area. So,
yeah,
any insights on why it is so critical?
Absolutely. I could go on for hours here, Desh, but I won't for brevity. The answer is investment. So you mentioned the C word, the cost word. Yes, there is a cost associated with it, of course, purchasing the solutions, purchasing the service, but it's an investment. And this is the thing, business messaging, and don't forget, CPaaS is all around business messaging. There are so many buzzwords in the industry. We hear omni-channel, multi-channel, conversational commerce, rich messaging, richer messaging, and it just goes on and on and on and on. But at the end of the day, underpinning CPaaS and underpinning business messaging are the traditional channels. And ask practically any of those companies you had on that chart, what is making them the money today? It's SMS. It's to SMS text messaging, and that's been around now for 31 years. So on December the 3rd of this year, 2023, it had its 31st birthday. So that underpins so much of the world of business messaging. Now, the great thing about business messaging is used correctly. So if you send messages with great content, a nice call to action, the right frequency at the right time, you get some great conversion. Now, whether it's wanting people's eyeballs on something to look at some news update, or to actually click on something, for example, to follow a lead, so follow a link and go and buy something, whatever your one desired outcome is, SMS and even better, richer channels such as RBM and chat apps, they're fantastic at actually bringing businesses outcomes. But what I would say is, until this point, the digital ad companies, so the Metas, the Facebooks, the Googles of the world, so with solutions such as Facebook, Instagram, Google Ads, etc., they have made it so easy for any company of any size to hook up, get access at a reasonable price. And so many of these 300 million plus businesses I've been talking about have been doing that. But if you actually look at the conversion ratio of the likes of Instagram and things like that, it is really, really low. It is unbelievably low. It can be 1.5% or below. Whereas you move to SMS and richer channels, it is a multiple factor beyond that. It can be 15, 20, 25% and above. So it is well worth the investment. Yes, it could be viewed as a cost, but it's how you sell the solution. Now, we as an industry, from a sales perspective, have been very, very used to approaching sales in one way. But now with CPaaS, your targets are the marketing people within enterprises themselves. But we haven't got to forget that actually most enterprises, particularly the large ones, they don't deal with advertising and marketing themselves. They have third parties. So actually, we have a big educational job on our hands as in the industry, not just the enterprises themselves, but PR companies, advertising companies, and more as well, to tell them the benefits of business messaging. And it's starting to happen, which is great. But with more of that, that will just accelerate CPaaS going forward, which is fantastic for the industry.
Absolutely. No, I think that's where, when I asked you the first question and you said that let's first define the scope of what CPaaS is, I think that's very, very critical. That CPaaS, while it started with API and the communication channels only, I think it is expanding into use cases which are beyond the traditional CPaaS, and which gives the opportunity to continuously expand the market and also bring more and more value to the enterprises. And it is not just about authenticating the user with 2FAs on SMS, but it is about bringing cross-selling, upselling new services. It is about customer care. It is about being there with the customer when they need you the most as a business. And I think that's where the definition has to be open-ended, and the possibilities of use cases and are unlimited with CPaaS.
Totally agree. So you and I have been to so many of our industry conferences. We see basically the same people again and again, but we have got to disconnect ourselves from the world we are in. We've got to step out of ourselves, step out of our organizations, and get a real perspective from the enterprise point of view, and most importantly, the consumer point of view. Now, from an enterprise, all they care about is the outcome. They don't care whether the outcome is done best via email or via WhatsApp or RBM or SMS, etc. But we as an industry care. And we know that mobile network operators in particular would benefit and would be seen as far more than just a pipe to the consumer if they really grasped the CPaaS opportunity. We know that, but the enterprises, they don't care about that. It's just the outcome, and they don't care about the channel. Now, the consumer, however, they do to a degree care about the channel. Because as consumers, as mobile subscribers, we are more comfortable with certain channels for certain things. So there are over 5 billion people around the world who have access to SMS. And SMS, as I mentioned, has been around for over 30 years now. And billions of people are very, very used to receiving interactions from businesses, from their doctor, from their place of worship, whatever it might be, via SMS. But they are not so used to receiving these interactions via, for example, WhatsApp. But that is starting to come now. And as I mentioned, a lot of this growth in CPaaS will be driven by these digital channels such as WhatsApp in the near to medium term. And increasingly, consumers' attitudes to channels will change, and they will learn to accept that actually, yes, business messaging can come via WhatsApp and doesn't just have to be SMS. So there are a lot of changes afoot here in the industry, and it's an exciting time.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I think if I were to sum up, the last part, I would say that enterprises care a lot more about customer experience, and they are trying to understand what the consumers need, where they want to be communicated. And that's where they are investing in CPaaS more and more. And you rightly said, we need to talk to more and more enterprises and understand and not just look at it from a channel perspective.
Yeah.
So,
sorry. Yeah. Carry on. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I wanted to ask you and dwell deeper again on the telco perspective now. While the graph that we just saw, we see only one telco on that graph, right? And that is a sad story given that 80% of the business is happening through the telcos today. While it might be evolving and it might change to more digital in future, the telcos have not truly leveraged. So what do you think are the challenges, and have you seen any positive case studies where this is changed for better?
Yeah, absolutely. So before I joined MEF, I was an industry consultant known to the industry as Mr. Connectivity, and I had several mobile network operator groups as direct clients. And one of them was, I will name them, it was Tele2 Group. And Tele2, they really wanted to get a handle on their business SMS, their A2P SMS monetization. So their subscribers were receiving a lot of business SMS sent out ultimately on behalf of enterprises, sent via many of these companies we saw on the graph there. But they wanted to ensure that, first of all, there wasn't spam, but most importantly, that they were receiving their rightful share of the revenue. So the monetization part, that's the inbound part. But also what was required for Tele2 and indeed other mobile network operators I've worked with, the groups, is actually this CPaaS solution, because they have this amazing, strong brand presence, but they don't have this expertise in the so-called A2P, but business to consumer messaging space. But they are also working with a lot of enterprises already, because don't forget, mobile operators, they provide internet connectivity, handsets, and a multitude of other services to enterprises in the countries they operate in. But it's not their prime focus. They have a different team, an enterprise sales team dealing with that. And the problem is the enterprise sales team, Desh, if you're an enterprise salesperson for a mobile operator, first of all, they're not going to be a lot of you, but you will be expected to know and sell all the services. And of course, priority will be given to those services which bring in the most revenue and have the most potential. And unfortunately, business messaging in general is low down on that list, because for most businesses, unless you're a huge business, your SMS bill might be a few thousand euros, dollars, pounds, dirhams, whatever it might be a month. It's not going to be 100,000, 500,000, a million, generally for a smaller business. So therefore, the focus and energy isn't on business messaging. But what I was saying to them, and actually this is what mobile operators and telcos have got to understand, is yes, it may not bring you hundreds of millions or billions of revenue, but it's high margin, number one, and it adds an amazing level of enterprise client stickiness. So they might be getting their handsets and from you today, but for example, if you offer them a CPaaS connectivity to a CPaaS solution for free and then charge them per interaction, X for an SMS, Y for a WhatsApp business message, Z for an RBM, one-way message, whatever it might be, then keep it really simple, the offering very, very simple. They'll go, wow, you've made it super easy for us to access and use, and off you go. And the key to this is partnerships with companies such as yourselves, Comviva, because you've worked with mobile operators, you know their psyche, you know what they're strong, good at, you know what they're not so good at, and you have enterprise experts in your organization who can guide and advise. And that's what they need. They need this advice. And that's what I was doing. So there is so much potential here. And at the end of the day, it comes back to what I started with, which is the brand thing. So if every mobile operator was to partner with a company like yourselves and get that solution, white label it, call it whatever their mobile operator name is, business messaging, keep it very, very simple, have a very simple proposition, a simple pricing structure, offer access to it for free, but then charge for per interaction, keep it very, very simple. You're going to be onto a winner. And it's going to increase business messaging as a whole and the CPaaS industry yet further. But the key is the partnership. And this is where strong companies such as Comviva come in.
Absolutely. Great insights, James. What I've seen in last couple of years, most of the telcos are looking at a roadmap of being from telco to a techco, and I find CPaaS is a perfect sweet spot for them to start their journey, because as you said, that to start with, maybe it might not be the biggest revenue generator for enterprise business, but it has a potential to create sticky customers and to upsell and cross-sell many more services, be at the center of digital strategy of those enterprises. I think it's a great sweet spot for telcos to consider.
Totally
Great.
agree. Totally agree. So what I can add to that as well, just quickly, is that you mentioned that they want to get into the technology side of things. And that there's a real trend with mobile operators to always look for something new. What's new out there? What's high tech? Is it 5G? Is it IoT? Is it whatever it is new out there that can bring us new revenues and margins? But they forget, and the industry as a whole forgets, the traditional stuff, such as SMS and voice, which has been around for decades, which consumers in particular are very, very happy with and can bring some real nice money. But if you wrap it as the CPaaS things, it becomes this technology play. And with APIs, it allows easy connectivity to the enterprises. So you have the best of both worlds. You're taking something old, but packaging it really nicely. So you've got something new. So from a marketing perspective, it ticks the nice, hey, we're high tech, digital transformation, whatever box as well, which is important. So you're covering all the bases with it. So it's about repackaging it and making it more easily consumable by enterprises.
Got it. Thanks, James. So I think we are just coming to an end, and I would end it with last question for you, James, which is, what are your top 3 predictions for 2024? How is CPaaS industry going to be shaping up in 2024? Top 3 predictions from James. Yes.
Yeah, my number one prediction is that the majority of the CPaaS growth, I'm talking about here in terms of the revenues derived from business messaging through CPaaS deployments, is going to come from digital channels such as WhatsApp. So that is a fact. WhatsApp and other such channels are going to increase, but it's going to be WhatsApp leading the way. For sure, RBM, The carrier-based channel has increased massively its volumes, but it's still, in terms of revenue, it's absolutely tiny compared to WhatsApp. And WhatsApp itself actually is absolutely tiny compared to SMS. So yes, WhatsApp is going to grow heavily, but SMS by far and away still going to be the leading channel. That's the first thing. Secondly, I would say there is going to be an increasing adoption of CPaaS by mobile network operators through 2024. There are going to be more partnerships between mobile network operators and organizations such as yourselves, because finally they're understanding that this is a real opportunity for them to get their brand out there to enterprises in a different way. And you look at the mobile network operators that are doing that more and have some success, and it's well worth them investing. So that's the second thing. And the third thing I would say is the realization that, yes, whilst mobile network operators, some of them are very big, they have a lot of financial resource at their disposal, a lot of very intelligent, technology-driven people, it's all about time to market. And there is going to be an increasing realization through 2024 is, look, we just have to partner with the right organizations and actually make this happen. And at the end of the day, I don't know why there are still mobile network operators, Desh, we've talked about this before, who don't have a proper A2P SMS firewall, who don't have a great managed service. It should be a tick box exercise. Yeah. Do we have an A2P SMS firewall? Yes. Do we have a great managed service? Yes. Do we have a great signaling firewall? Yes. A great associated security managed service? Yes. Do we have a great CPaaS solution? Yes. A great associated managed service and assistance? Yes. All network operators around the world, irrespective of those size, should have those 6 things. It's that simple. And if you don't, why not? There is no excuse, because you guys and companies like you can do it all for them.
Fantastic, James. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your insights. Really, really great talking to you. And thank you so much. And really looking forward to more such conversations with you in future, James.
Leave MEF. So a real honor and doing it with you, Desh, as well. Personally known you for a good number of years. And thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. And to all the viewers, I would say that if you have any questions and thoughts about this webinar or about CPaaS in general, feel free to write to us through any of our social media handles, and would love to engage with you and look forward to your feedback. And stay tuned for our next webinar, and you will see more webinars on the different topics and aspects of CPaaS in future. Until next time, take care and stay connected. Thank you.